October 29, you get the start at Tulsa, which started with a long touchdown pass to Rashee Rice, and then obviously ended for you in a way nobody wanted. What do you remember about the play that ended your season?
It all happened really fast. I think it was. I think we were in a tempo situation too, but I remember we were at that point in the game. We were really rolling. We were kind of firing on all cylinders, and then when it happened, I really don't remember a whole lot. I definitely didn't think I'd broken my collarbone, but once I'd gotten up, I was like, oh yeah, I think there's something wrong. But yes, that was definitely a lot of emotions going on during that time, but I'd still say that game was still a great experience.
So how long was it until you were able to, once you got through surgery, how long until you were able to start rehab, and what was that rehab process like?
I'd never had an injury this extensive before that put me out for this long. So the rehab process was something that was a little bit new to me, and definitely I'd never been in a situation where I couldn't do anything, which was the first month or two after surgery. And then once we got into that third month was when I was really started to get my strength back, get my weight back, and and so it's been. I actually just got 100% cleared 2 days ago, so 3 days ago. So.
Okay, that was my next
Really
question.
excited.
When do you get cleared for football activities, and how does it feel now? Any limitation, any discomfort at all left?
No, it feels great. It's from everything they tell me, it's stronger than it was even before. So, but I've been doing off-season workouts, been throwing just about the whole off-season. So I'll be completely good to go by the time practice starts on Thursday.
Obviously, your first priority was getting healthy, but beyond that, what kinds of other things have you worked on over the off-season?
I definitely trying to do everything I can to win the mental game. Once game day comes, I think there's been with this being year 2 in this system, I feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more poised than I did at this point last year, just because the terminology, the way Coach Lashlee runs and calls his offense is just starting to become more like second nature. But just trying to do everything I can in film study and practice preparation to give me the best chance to be successful.
After waiting your turn to get in the lineup, you get hurt and suddenly you're watching again as Kevin Jennings played parts of 4 games, including finishing the Tulsa game. What did you see from him when you were able to get back on the sideline and watch him stepping in? What did you think of his performance?
Yeah, Kev's a beast. Kevin's really good. I thought you said it was 4 games he got to play in?
Yeah, at least a few snaps in a couple of them, but obviously the longer stretch when you got hurt in Tulsa.
Yeah, no, I mean Kevin stepped in and it was pretty seamless. I think that's a testament to the work he puts in. We always say iron sharpens iron here. So I think me and Kev have been it's been really good getting better with him and growing with him.
Rhett Lashlee talked last year about how you and Tanner Mordecai were competing for the same job, but also there was clearly a friendly relationship, and I think he used the word mentor a few times. What are some of the things that you learned from not just watching him play, but also being on the practice field and in the meeting rooms and film with him?
Yeah, I think the thing I respected most about Tanner is that he was the same guy every day, and that was just that consistency that he brought to the table was something that I learned a lot from, and just his toughness. Tanner was a tough dude. I think he was fighting through injury just about the whole year last year, and he only came out when it was just unbearable. But yeah, Tanner was a tough dude, so got to learn a lot from him. Just watching him fight through that stuff.
For the last couple of years, you've been the talented young backup waiting your turn, I guess. Now all of a sudden you're like the grizzled veteran in the quarterback's room. I know you have a veteran coming in from Iowa as a transfer, but he's new to the team and new to the offense. What is that transition like to suddenly being the elder statesman and the veteran of that group?
It's been fun, to say the least. It's been really fun. It's it makes me really have a great perspective and be really grateful for the past 2 years, and just that that the time that I spent waiting to get to where I am now was just preparing me for for the spring that we're going to have and for the season that we're going to have. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been fun.
You talked about how this is your second year coming up in this system under Coach Lashlee and Coach Woods and Coach Brewer. How does that change your off season, since you're already at least familiar with the system that's being implemented and that you're expected to run?
It's been great. Like I said, it's starting to become more like second nature. Because last year was my first year of really playing in a tempo offense like Coach Lashlee likes to play, and it's after having been through a year of that with the way he calls plays, the way he game plans, does our formations and our turbo formations and all of that. It's starting to become more like second nature.
All right, you do work with three coaches. Your head coach was a quarterback and quarterback's coach. You've got your offensive coordinator, Coach Woods. You've got a quarterback's coach. How do they break up the responsibilities and the amount of time and the things they do with you and the other quarterbacks?
That's good. I spend, obviously I'm with Coach Brewer more than anybody. He's our quarterback coach, and they definitely have a great way of making sure that we step onto the field as prepared as we possibly can. I'll learn something and get bits of advice and coaching from each one of them three just about every practice. So it's seamless, and they have a great way of bouncing off one another.
When you first got to SMU a couple of years ago, Sonny Dykes was the head coach, but your offensive coordinator was Rhett Lashlee, and so there's obviously some concept overlap, but from a quarterback's perspective, what are the biggest differences between running the offense that Coach Dykes called when he was here and now to what Coach Lashlee and Coach Woods are calling now with the team now?
I'd say the biggest difference is the tempo and the speed of the game that we play in. It's kind of Coach Lashlee's trademark, and it's I think when you look back at games like North Texas and Houston from this past year, you can see how just when we're firing all cylinders, when we're firing on all cylinders, we really can't be stopped. And so I'm having playing in Coach Lashlee's offense is a ton of fun because he gives you so many options and he puts so much trust in you to go out there and execute. So,
am I right? When Coach Lashlee was the offensive coordinator here, was he in on the initial recruitment of you before he split from Miami?
Definitely. Yeah, I remember meeting Coach Lashlee and Coach Dykes here my freshman year of high school. I remember sitting in Coach Dykes' office with Coach Lashlee and getting offered by Coach Lashlee. And I think I probably spent more time with Coach Lashlee than just about any other coordinator that I got recruited by when I was in high school. So it's really cool how God can bring different people back into your life that you never would have expected. And I'm grateful that I've got to know Coach Lashlee for this long, and now we're actually getting to play a season together. So it's going to be awesome.
So when you first got to know him, you're a young high school player. He's trying to convince you to come to SMU. So there's sort of a salesmanship element to your relationship. Now he's your head coach. How has your relationship changed with him?
Yeah, I mean, I never really felt like there was a salesman kind of mentality from Coach Lashlee ever. I think he always, even when he was recruiting me out of truth and authenticity to a point where, like, when he came back to coach us, this past year, I knew that I was getting the same coach that I met when I was 15 years old. Now being in my third year of college, it's a blessing to have Coach Lashlee here.
The last 2 years you've been impressing a new coaching staff. Your freshman year under Coach Dykes, last year with Coach Lashlee, Coach Woods. Now that you have played for these guys for a year, how does that change either your off-season training or your preparation as you get ready for spring ball?
I think preparation, being consistent, it pays off for you quite a bit, and so I think going into spring ball that my routine is a big part of what I do, and it's a big part of what everybody here in the program does, because everybody's practicing, everybody's lifting, working out. It's the routine and the consistency of who you are and what you do each day that's going to take you to the next level. And so going into this spring, my preparation really hasn't changed a whole lot. I think the biggest thing is just creating chemistry with the guys. We got a ton of new guys on this team this spring, and just trying to be as consistent as we can.
Is it possible to characterize the difference in just your comfort level with the coaches, your teammates, the terminology, the system from a year ago to now as you get ready for spring?
Could you ask that again?
Yeah, I'm just trying to quantify how much more comfortable you are now than a year ago, because you have had a full season with this coaching staff.
Yeah. Oh, it's obviously there's definitely more comfortable. Not to say that I wasn't comfortable or feeling good last year, but when you get through a whole season with a staff and with new guys on your team, you get to it's different after we've been through a whole year of adversity, and we got to see how we respond from the losing streak like last year, and we're able to bounce back. And so I think last year was huge in creating a good culture and a good chemistry between everybody.
You mentioned that you just got fully cleared a couple days ago, but you have been throwing with these guys. How do you feel the timing and the chemistry is developing between you and Kevin and the other quarterbacks, and especially the new receivers who've been on campus?
It's going very well. I think we're very methodical and intentional about our throwing sessions and making sure that we're doing everything as specific and intentional as we can. With my footwork, with how many steps and yards they're taking on their routes, and so we can get to a point in the fall where it's like second nature. We go out there and play catch with our eyes closed.
At the risk of putting you on the spot, you mentioned there's a bunch of new guys on campus, including freshmen, a couple of freshmen, and also all these transfers. Who's caught your eye in workouts?
Let's see, man. I can genuinely say that every guy that we've brought in has impressed me to some degree. We've got some dudes that have come in and really gelled well with the team. As far as our receivers, new guys, we got Keyshawn and Mello have been great, Miami guys, really hard workers and just good dudes in general. PJ and Hiron have been great. It's been great getting to know them, and I'm excited to play with them. That's Jonathan McGill. I know he doesn't play on my side of the ball, but I've known Jonathan since we were little kids, and he's been an incredible leader already, just in the month and a half that he's been here. So we've got a ton of dudes. I'm sure there's a ton of guys who I'm leaving out, but those are some of the guys that really.
You mentioned PJ and Hiron. It's sort of normal for quarterbacks to be drawn to the guys who are in charge of keeping you in one piece, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, speaking of your teammates, a lot of coaches and players talk about the biggest jump being, or a big jump being made between first and second year. From the guys that you were working with a year ago, just in terms of conditioning, the strength program, weight room, who has jumped out at you as visibly different, either bigger and stronger or leaner or faster? Who looks like they've made major progress over the off-season conditioning-wise?
Let's see. I think Junior's been great in the weight room in our workouts. Broderick Daniels is Junior's been a freak in workouts. He's doing really well. I say like LJ from A&M. I know he wasn't with us last year, but seeing him, he's been killing our workouts and gelled really well with the new strength staff. There's plenty of guys. Kamar's looking great. He's looking like he's getting his bounce back. Our strength staff does a really good job.
After a year with this coaching staff and 2 at SMU, how are you most different than you were a year ago as you get ready for your next season?
I think at this point I just feel more prepared than I've felt since I've been here at SMU. There's playing for 2 coaching staffs and going through 2 seasons of college football. It's there's been a ton of ups and downs just in the 2 years that I've been here, and so I really feel like at this point there's not much that I haven't seen or been through from the perspective of a player, and so I feel more prepared going into this season than I have since I've been here.